Okay, through this video, I am going to discuss with you question number 2, paper 2, economics 2019. 2019 economics paper 2, question number 2, part 3, that is regarding consumer surplus and producer surplus. 2019 economics paper 2, subsection A, question number 2, part 3, that is regarding consumer surplus and consumer surplus and producer surplus. Producer surplus, consumer surplus and producer surplus. Right. What is consumer surplus? You know, this is the equilibrium price and quantity. Q, this is P. Right. By market demand and market supply, in the market, the equilibrium price and quantity demanded will be decided. This is the equilibrium price, equilibrium quantity. But in the market, consumers are willing to buy at this price. Because of market equilibrium, they have to pay this price. So, consumers can save this part. Therefore, this triangle is the consumer surplus. When it comes to producer surplus, producers are also willing to supply at this price. But because of equilibrium price, they can have a higher price than what they expected. Therefore, this area will be the producer surplus. Right? I will again explain what is producer surplus. Producer surplus. Producers are willing to supply at this price, but because of market equilibrium price, they can have or they can obtain higher price than what they expected. Therefore, producer surplus will be below the equilibrium price, and this area represented in black white will be producer surplus. Other concept, consumer surplus. Consumers are also willing to buy at this price, highest price. But because of market equilibrium price, consumers have to pay this price. Therefore, consumers can save this part when they buy goods. Therefore, consumer surplus will be this area, covering this triangle, covering this area. Right. At the examination, you will be given demand function and supply function. Then you have to use those two functions and find market equilibrium price, market equilibrium quantity, and you have to try to find the answers for consumer surplus and producer surplus, depending on the given information. But here, I just explained how to define producer surplus and consumer surplus. Consumer surplus. Right. Now I am going to take the examination question given in the year 2019, paper 2, part A, question number 2, part 3. Market demand and supply equations for a particular commodity are given below. Demand equation QD equals 60 minus 3P. Supply equation QS equal minus 10 plus 2P. Calculate the economic surplus at market equilibrium. Economic surplus. Economic surplus. Economic surplus equal consumer surplus plus producer right. Economic surplus equal consumer surplus plus producer surplus. Right. Then, depending on details given in the question, you can decide. In the question, they have given you demand equation QD equal 60 minus 3P. 60 minus 3P. QS equal minus 10 plus 2P. Minus 10 plus 2P. This is demand function number one. Number two, supply equation of supply function. Then, here you have to calculate. Producer surplus and consumer surplus by using the given details. Here, you can decide market equilibrium, price and quantity by equalizing these two equations given in the question. QD at the equilibrium, QS equal QD. QS equal QD. Therefore, you can equalize these two given equation. 60 minus 3P equal minus 10 plus 2P. At the equilibrium, quantity supplied will be equal to quantity demanded. Therefore, 60 minus 3P equal minus 10 plus 2P. This is the supply function. This is the demand equation of function. Right. Here, 60 plus 10 equal 2P plus 5, 3P. Then 70 equal 5P. 70 divided by 5 equal P. That is 40. P equal 40. We'll divide 70 by 5, 40. Then P equal 14. You can apply here to find equilibrium quantity by using one of these two given equations. 60 minus 3P, then 60 minus 3 into 14, then 60 minus 42 equal 18 equal QD. 18. Right. 18 is the quantity demanded at the equilibrium. At the equilibrium, 14 is the price. Right. QD equals 18 and P equal 14 at the market equilibrium. Right. Then you can do this again. This is our QD, 0 and P. Then you can just take this is DD, this is SS, this is market equilibrium. Quantity 18 and 14 market price and 18 quantity demand. Right. They can then, by using the given two equation, you can find maximum demand and maximum quantity demanded and maximum price. By using these two equations, you can find maximum price and maximum quantity demand. Right. If you take QD equal 60 minus 3P, that is demand function or demand equation. Demand equation. When the quantity demanded is 0, you can find price. 60 minus 3P, then 60 minus 3 into P equal 14. No. Here you can take QD equal 60 3P. This is demand function. Then you can find when the quantity, when the price is 0, maximum quantity will be 60. When you equalize, instead of QD, if you apply 0, then maximum quantity will be 60. Therefore, here you can just take this point 60. Then by using supply function equals minus 10 plus 2P, then here you can take, this is supply function. Through supply function, you can find maximum price. Maximum price. Here, when the quantity supply is 0, maximum price you can take as here 20 maximum price 20, maximum quantity 60, and 5 as the minimum price 5. Right. Then at the examination order to indicate these steps. Then here, this part will indicate consumer surplus, this part producer surplus. Then how to find producer surplus and consumer surplus. Consumer surplus, here equilibrium quantity 18, equilibrium price 40. If you take this part, this is the producer surplus. Here 14 minus 5, 9. 9 into quantity demand at 18. When you multiply 9 into 18, we take full rectangle, but you can divide by 2. 9 into 18, 9 into 8. You can take 72, balance 7, and then 16 divided by 2 equal 81. Then consumer surplus, this part. Consumer surplus, this part. Then 20 minus 14 will be 6. 6 into quantity demand 18. As we take only this area, we have to add by 2. 6 into 8, 48, balance 4. 6 into 1, 6, plus 4, 10. Divide by 2, 54. Right. We are asked to find the economic surplus. Economic surplus is the addition of these two. This is producer surplus 81, consumer surplus 54. Then 81 plus 54, that is 5 and 135 is the economic surplus. 81 producer surplus, consumer surplus 54, and 135 will be economic surplus. 135 will be economic surplus. Then at the examination, depending on the given details, you can find any answer coming under economic surplus. First, we have to find consumer surplus. Secondly, producer surplus. Then you can add those two. But at the examination, we can have different type of questions. But this is the basic question came under producer surplus and consumer surplus. You asked to find economic surplus. So if I just explain economic surplus and producer surplus and consumer surplus again, this is a demand curve, the supply curve. Then equilibrium price 14, equilibrium quantity 18. Even though equilibrium price 14, consumers are willing to buy at 20. We found 20 through the equation. Then this part will indicate the consumer surplus. Even though they are willing to buy at this price, they have to pay only this equilibrium price. So this area will represent the consumer surplus. When it comes to producer surplus, equilibrium price 14, but producers are ready to supply at 5. Therefore, they can have additional margin, that is 9, 14 minus 5 by. Therefore, this area will indicate producer surplus. Then whole area will be the addition of consumer surplus and producer surplus. That is equal to economic surplus. So that is an important concept. Producer surplus and consumer surplus. At the examination, depending on details, you have to find the details. So you have to find the answers. Therefore, you have to know the basic concept regarding consumer surplus and producer surplus and economic surplus. Then you will be able to find any answer.